Ladies and gentlemen, have you ever wondered why your mind is tired even when your body is not? Why your heart is restless even in stillness? It is not the world that exhausts you. It is the weight of too many eyes, too many opinions, too many comparisons. You are looking in every direction except the one that matters. So today I will offer you one message, one principle, a single unshakable foundation. Focus only on yourself, not because others are wrong, not because the world is unworthy, but because you will never hear your inner voice if you keep listening to the noise outside. Imagine standing before a calm lake at dawn, where each ripple mirrors not just your physical form, but the depths of your inner self. The world in its silent wisdom reflects every nuance of our being. It is a mirror that does not distort, but instead reveals unspoken truths about who we are, our hidden desires, and even our unacknowledged fears. Every passing moment, every encounter with another person, is an invitation to look beyond superficialities and to peer into the soul's quiet recesses. In this reflection, we see our authentic self, stripped of the masks society often compels us to wear. When you gaze into the mirror of the world, you begin to notice how external experiences are a reflection of your internal state. A day filled with unexpected challenges may echo the turbulence that lies within, while moments of serendipity and ease often mirror the calm nurtured inside your heart. The world does not act independently of your spirit. Instead, it responds to the energy you emit. This understanding transforms every interaction into a profound lesson about self-awareness, urging you to embrace the imperfections that make you human and the strengths that propel you forward. In this journey of self-discovery, the mirror of the world becomes an invaluable guide. Every person you meet serves as a reflection of your own inner dialogue. When you encounter kindness in a stranger, it reminds you of the capacity for compassion within. When you witness anger or indifference, it may signal unresolved conflicts or shadows that you have long ignored. By attentively observing these mirrors, you learn not only to understand others better, but also to acknowledge the parts of yourself that require healing, nurturing, or acceptance. There is an exquisite beauty in realizing that nothing is merely random in life. The reflection you see in external events is a direct consequence of your thoughts, emotions, and actions. The mirror of the world challenges you to be fully present and honest with yourself. It invites you to question your beliefs and to understand why certain events evoke strong responses. It is in this questioning that you begin to recognize patterns, those recurring themes and behaviors that shadow your journey. With each realization, you peel away a layer of illusion, revealing the authentic core that resides within. This mirror also teaches the importance of responsibility. When the world reflects your inner state, it subtly reminds you that you hold the power to change that state. The ripple effect of your inner transformation is felt beyond your immediate self, influencing the collective human experience. By focusing inward, by cultivating self-discipline, compassion, and mindfulness, you gradually alter the nature of the reflection. You become both the artist and the masterpiece, molding your destiny through deliberate action and heartfelt introspection. The mirror is not always kind. It confronts you with truths that may be uncomfortable. The aspects of yourself that you have long denied come into sharp focus. In these moments of discomfort, the mirror does not seek to punish but rather to enlighten. It challenges you to reconcile with your vulnerabilities and weaknesses, teaching you that the shadow is but a partner to the light. Embracing these parts of yourself does not diminish your worth. Instead, it enriches your understanding of the human experience and deepens your capacity for growth. When you choose to look into this mirror with courage and honesty, you discover that every element of the world is a reflection of your inner landscape. This realization empowers you to take control of your narrative and to nurture a life that is deeply aligned with your true essence. The mirror, ever honest and unyielding, stands as a constant reminder that to transform the world around you, you must first cultivate the world within yourself. In the ever-changing dance of life, where circumstances, relationships, and environments constantly shift, there is only one constant that remains with you through every season: yourself. The external world moves like the wind, sometimes gentle, sometimes fierce, and though you may try, you cannot grasp it, predict it, or command it. What you can command, what you can shape with intention, discipline, and clarity is your inner world. And that is why the most meaningful work you will ever do begins within. Many people live as though their peace, their happiness, and their worth depend on something outside: the approval of others, the success of a plan, the outcome of a situation. But this is a fragile way to live. It places your emotional stability in the hands of forces you do not control. When your focus remains outward, your identity becomes reactive, constantly adjusting to what others say or do, and never grounded in truth. But the moment you recognize that you are the constant in your life, a shift happens. Suddenly the focus returns to where it belongs, on your thoughts, your behaviors, your responses. You realize that the work is not to fix the world or to control other people, but to master yourself. That doesn't mean ignoring the outside world. Rather, it means understanding that your inner state shapes how you perceive and navigate everything outside of you. You can be in a storm and remain calm. You can be in chaos and act with clarity. You can walk into noise and carry silence. But this ability does not come from controlling the world. It comes from controlling yourself, from anchoring your awareness to the present moment, from practicing stillness even when movement surrounds you, and from building a relationship with yourself so solid that no outside voice can shake it. It is tempting to blame others for how we feel. He made me angry. They stressed me out. That situation ruined my day. But all of these statements give away your power. Nobody can make you feel anything unless you allow it. The world can only disturb the surface of your mind if the surface is left unguarded. When you are rooted in your own presence, the external disturbances lose their grip. This is not about becoming indifferent or detached from life. It's about engaging with life from a place of balance. A tree does not resist the wind. It sways, bends, and yet stays rooted. So must you. You don't shut yourself off from emotions or experiences. You allow them, observe them, and respond, not react. This subtle difference between reaction and response is born from inner awareness, the product of focusing on yourself, not in a selfish way but in a sacred, centered way. To be the constant also means to take responsibility for how you grow. Nobody else can walk your path. People may offer wisdom, encouragement, or companionship, but the actual steps, the learning, the falling, the rising, are yours alone. This is a liberating truth. It means your progress, your healing, your peace are not limited by the world, but only by your willingness to turn inward and do the work. When the external becomes unstable, your inner stability becomes your sanctuary. And when the world is generous and full of beauty, your inner clarity allows you to experience it fully without clinging or fear. Whether in struggle or success, you remain centered, because you are the constant, and that is your greatest power. Comparison is subtle. It begins quietly. A glance at someone else's achievement, a passing thought about someone's appearance, a feeling of envy masked as motivation. But left unchecked, comparison becomes a thief. Not a thief of joy as people often say, but of clarity. Because the moment you begin to compare yourself to another, you lose sight of your own path. You forget who you are, what you carry, and what you are truly meant to become. Each person walks a path shaped by their own story, their own timing, their own inner rhythm. No two journeys are identical, so to compare your path with someone else's is like measuring a tree by the speed of a river. One is rooted, one is flowing. Both move, both grow, but in completely different ways. Comparison distorts this understanding. It makes you question your pace. It breeds impatience. It suggests that where you are is not enough simply because someone else is somewhere else. This mindset clouds your clarity, not just of where you're going, but of who you are. When you focus too much on others, their successes, their lifestyles, their appearances, you start forming a version of yourself that is reactive, not reflective. Your decisions are no longer born from your values or vision, but from a distorted desire to keep up, to fit in, to not fall behind. You begin to chase shadows that were never meant to be your light. But here is the truth. Your path requires your full attention, not partial, not distracted, not half-hearted, full. And when your mind is constantly looking left and right, it cannot move forward with purpose. The energy you spend comparing could be energy used for creating, for building, for refining your craft, your character, your discipline. It is not inspiration that drains you. It is the constant measurement of self against others that weakens your spirit. Clarity comes when you stop looking outward for your value and begin listening inward for your truth. Who are you when no one is watching? What do you desire not because it's trending, but because it speaks to your soul? What do you want to give to the world? Not to impress, but to express your deepest self. To reclaim clarity, you must reclaim your attention, and that begins by reminding yourself daily. Your path is yours. Your timing is yours. Your journey cannot be rushed, and it cannot be copied. You are not falling behind. You are not missing out. You are unfolding slowly, perfectly, in the way you are meant to. The irony of comparison is that it often blinds you to the value you already hold. You overlook your progress, dismiss your growth, ignore the quiet victories that no one applauds but matter deeply to your becoming. You trade gratitude for anxiety. You forget how far you've come, because you're too focused on how far someone else seems to be. Freedom from comparison does not mean ignoring others. It means honoring them without abandoning yourself. You can celebrate another's success without questioning your own. You can learn from others without copying them. You can walk beside someone and still remain on your path. The moment you stop comparing is the moment you begin seeing clearly. You recognize that peace does not come from being the best, it comes from being whole. You realize that clarity is not found in the noise of competition, but in the silence of alignment. And from that place, your path becomes visible again. Steady, honest, and entirely your own. There is a quiet power in choosing discipline, not the kind that is harsh or rigid, but the kind that is steady, intentional, and rooted in deep respect for yourself. Discipline is not a punishment. It is a form of self-care. It is an act of self-respect. When you choose to be disciplined, you are telling yourself, I am worth showing up for. You stop waiting for motivation, approval, or perfect conditions. You act because you know that who you are becoming depends on what you choose to do day after day. Many people misunderstand discipline. They think it is about restriction, about forcing yourself to do things you don't want to do. But true discipline is not about control. It is about alignment. It is choosing what you want most over what you want now. It is not about being perfect. It is about being consistent. And more than anything, it is about returning to yourself over and over again, especially when distractions try to pull you away. When you focus only on yourself, discipline becomes natural. You stop spending your energy worrying about who is watching, who is ahead, or who approves. You begin to see that your growth is not a performance. It is a private contract between you and the person you are becoming. No one else needs to understand it. No one else needs to validate it, because you are not doing it for them. You are doing it for your peace, your purpose. In a world that constantly asks you to look outside for answers, for identity, for direction, for value, discipline brings you back home. It reminds you that the real transformation happens when no one is clapping, when no one is posting, when no one even knows. It's the early mornings, the quiet evenings, the difficult choices, the uncomfortable truths. It's doing the work when it's boring. It's staying consistent when no one notices. It's honoring your commitments to yourself like they matter, because they do. Discipline is not loud. It does not need to be. It moves in silence. It grows in stillness. And in time, it becomes unshakable. It builds the kind of inner strength that doesn't need to prove itself. You don't need to be better than anyone else. You just need to be better than the version of you who gave up too soon. That is your only comparison. That is your only competition. The more you practice discipline, the more you realize that it is the purest form of love you can give yourself. Not indulgence, not escape, but the commitment to do what is necessary even when it's hard, especially when it's hard. You realize that freedom is not the absence of structure. True freedom is the result of discipline. When you are disciplined, you are not ruled by urges, moods, or distractions. You become the master of your attention, the keeper of your focus. And focus, in its deepest form, is not scattered across the lives of others. It is anchored in you. It is nurtured by your daily choices, sharpened by your intentional actions. Each moment of discipline adds to your foundation. You begin to build a life that is resilient, clear, and grounded, not because it is easy, but because you showed up for it. So if you want to change your life, don't wait for the perfect plan or the right time. Start with the simple choice to respect yourself enough to be disciplined, to rise when it's difficult, to move when it's inconvenient, to return to your path when you drift. Because discipline is not what limits you, it is what shapes you, it is what frees you, and it begins the moment you decide that you are worth the effort. Life does not ask you for control, it asks for presence. It asks you to show up, to adapt, to respond with clarity, not with resistance. So many people spend their energy trying to control the wind. They fight the circumstances they cannot change. They argue with reality. They resist what is. But no matter how much effort you spend trying to stop the wind, it will still blow. Life will still move, shift, surprise, and sometimes challenge you in ways you never expected. The truth is, you are not meant to control the wind. You are meant to adjust your sails. This is the art of living. You learn to stop reacting blindly and instead respond with awareness. When the wind is strong, you do not panic. You anchor yourself. You realign your direction. You adapt your posture. You stay calm, not because life is calm, but because you are. This ability to stay steady while life moves unpredictably is not found in control, but in acceptance. And acceptance is not weakness, it is intelligence. It is wisdom in action. The wind does not blow to test you. It blows because that is its nature. Likewise, life is not attacking you. It is simply unfolding. And it unfolds whether you approve of it or not. Some days will be quiet, others will be chaotic. But your peace does not need to depend on the nature of the day. Your peace can be constant if it is rooted within you, not outside you. The person who tries to control everything outside of themselves becomes exhausted. They are always chasing, always adjusting the world to feel safe. But the person who focuses on adjusting their inner state gains a quiet strength. They do not need the world to be still in order to feel still. They become their own anchor. Their power comes not from domination but from alignment. Adjusting your sails means choosing how you respond to difficulty. It means looking at a challenge and asking, what can I learn here? How can I grow from this? Instead of wishing things were easier, you focus on becoming stronger. Instead of resisting discomfort, you allow it to teach you. This mindset transforms every situation into an opportunity. Even setbacks become steps forward because they force you to refine your course, sharpen your focus, and deepen your resilience. There is great freedom in knowing that you do not have to control everything to move forward. You simply need to stay connected to your purpose and allow the winds, favorable or not, to assist your journey. When the wind blows with you, you move swiftly. When it blows against you, you learn to navigate with precision, patience, and perseverance. And the more you practice this way of living, the more stable you become. the storms no longer shake you the same way, not because the storms are weaker, but because you are stronger. You stop wasting time resisting life. You begin to move with it, to learn from it, to use every moment as part of your growth. You understand that the direction of the wind does not define you. What defines you is how you adjust your sails. This is the quiet strength of someone who focuses only on themselves, not selfishly, but wisely. Because when you master yourself, you stop being at the mercy of every shift in the world. You learn to navigate, you learn to adapt, and no matter where the wind takes you, you remain on course, not because you controlled it, but because you aligned with it. In a world full of voices, full of noise, full of opinions, it's easy to lose yourself. Easy to forget that beneath all the expectations, comparisons, and distractions, there is a voice that belongs only to you. It's quieter than the others, not because it's weak, but because it doesn't shout. It waits. It waits for you to listen, not with your ears, but with your presence. This voice is your inner compass, the one that does not waver when the world tries to pull you in 1,000 directions. And the only way to hear it clearly is to become still. Stillness is not about doing nothing. It is not laziness or inaction. Stillness is attention. It is presence. It is the act of turning inward and becoming fully available to this moment. In stillness, distractions fall away. The outside world fades into the background, and what remains is truth, your truth. Not what you've been told, not what others expect, but what actually aligns with your soul. We live in a time where everything around us is designed to keep us moving. Faster, louder, more distracted. Information is constant. Opinions are endless. Everyone has something to say. But in all that movement, something important is lost. Clarity. You can't see clearly when the water is stirred. You can't think clearly when your mind is cluttered. You can't feel clearly when your attention is scattered. That's why stillness is not just a practice, it is a necessity. When you focus only on yourself, stillness becomes sacred. You stop rushing toward other people's definitions of success. You stop reacting to every stimulus, every comment, every comparison. You begin to ask deeper questions. What do I truly want? What am I really here for? What is mine to carry? And what is noise? These questions cannot be answered in motion. They require pause. They require listening. They require solitude. Not loneliness, but the kind of solitude where you meet yourself honestly, without distraction. And it is in this meeting, this quiet encounter with your own being, that transformation begins. Not because you finally figured everything out, but because you finally stopped running. You let yourself breathe. You let yourself be. And in that stillness, you begin to remember who you are. Not the roles you play, not the masks you wear, but the core that was always there, waiting. The deeper you go into stillness, the more grounded you become. You no longer chase what's trending. You no longer need to prove anything. You act from intention, not impulse. You move from alignment, not anxiety. Life becomes less about performance and more about presence. And from that place, your actions carry weight. Your words have depth. Your choices are rooted in something real. Stillness also teaches you patience. You understand that not everything needs to be rushed, that growth takes time, that becoming is a slow unfolding. And because you are no longer in a hurry to catch up to the world, you finally have the space to grow into the person you were meant to be. You don't need more. You just need to be more here, more with yourself, more with the moment. So if you feel lost, overwhelmed, disconnected, don't run outward. Return inward. Find a quiet space. Close your eyes. Breathe. Listen. Beneath all the layers, all the thoughts, all the noise, there is something steady, something wise, something whole, that is you. And when you learn to live from that place, the place of stillness, You don't just survive the chaos of the world, you rise above it. You walk your path with peace, with clarity, with power, not because the world got quieter, but because you did. When you strip away the noise, the distractions, the comparisons, and the endless desire to control what lies beyond you, what remains? You. Not the version shaped by pressure or fear, but the one forged in presence, in stillness, in discipline, and in truth. This is the essence of the path. To focus only on yourself. Not from ego, not from pride, but from wisdom. Because only when you know yourself, discipline yourself, and align yourself, can you walk through this world with clarity and purpose. Let others move at their own pace. Let the world shout if it must. You are not here to outrun them. You are here to become, to grow inwardly, to walk deeply, to act consciously. Every moment you choose awareness over reaction, responsibility over blame, alignment over approval, you are stepping into your true power. You don't need to force the wind. You don't need to chase anyone's shadow. You don't need to explain your path to those who don't understand it. All you need to do is return again and again to yourself. Because from that center, from that still and steady place within, you can face any storm, walk any path, and build a life that is not just successful. So walk your path, stay disciplined, let go of what you cannot control, and above all, listen deeply, not to the world but to the quiet, unwavering voice within. That is where your clarity lives. That is where your strength begins. That is where your freedom is found. Focus only on yourself, and everything else will begin to fall into place.